The phone screen blazed to life at 11:27 p.m., a miniature sun in the darkness of my apartment. Its cold light fell on the text from my mother. The words were simple, brutal: "We changed all the locks. You don't have a home anymore. Let's see how brave you are now." For a long moment, I just stared, the words not yet forming meaning. They were just black marks on a white screen. My thumb hovered over the glass, afraid to touch it, as if the venom from her words could seep through and burn me. I read it once. Then again. A third time, until each syllable carved itself into my mind, not with heat, but with a cold, permanent clarity, like ice-etching stone. I waited for the storm to hit, for the tears, the rage, the crumbling fear. But it didn't come. Instead, a profound and chilling stillness settled over me. It was the quiet after a forest fire, when all that's left is ash and the stark, undeniable truth of the landscape. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't type a single word in reply. I smiled. A small, cold, knowing smile. Because they had made a fatal miscalculation. They thought home was their tidy two-story colonial with the white shutters. They didn't understand that home wasn't a building you could lock someone out of. Home was a feeling of safety, of belonging, and they had burned that concept to the ground years ago. What they had taken was just a shell. What I was about to take was the foundation of the comfortable little empire they had built on my back, funded by my sweat, and secured with my obedience. If you've ever been loved conditionally, used efficiently, and discarded carelessly by the very people who were supposed to be your sanctuary, then you know the unique, soul-sickening flavor of this betrayal. It doesn't just break your heart, it rewires your understanding of love itself. My name is Jessica Chen. I am 28 years old, a data-minded numbers nerd with a memory built for details, which turned out to be both my curse and my salvation. My curse began in that picture-perfect house in Portland. From the outside, we were a postcard. Inside, I was the stagehand in an endless performance of The Perfect Family, ensuring the lights never dimmed. The exploitation started small, disguised as life lessons. At 14, my father's requests became commands. Jessica, grab the ladder. Jessica, hold the flashlight. My weekends vanished into a haze of sawdust and aching muscles. While my friends were discovering themselves, I was discovering the weight of a roofing hammer and the sting of splinters in my palms. My father would ruffle my hair, his laugh a little too loud. "You're tougher than any son I could have asked for." And my mother, her smile never quite reaching her eyes, would add the family mantra, "Family helps family, Jessica. You're so handy." Amanda, well, Amanda is delicate. Delicate. That was the code for I cherished. My sister, Amanda, was the prized orchid, displayed in the sun. I was the root structure, buried in the dirt, my sole purpose to hold her up. I believed them. I wrapped my worth around my usefulness. By 17, the word no felt like a betrayal. Then came the money favors. A sigh from my mother. "Things are tight, honey. Could you help with the electric bill?" The requests grew, mortgage payments, unexpected expenses, each one wrapped in the gauzy language of familial duty. I felt a twisted pride in being the problem solver, the strong one. By 21, the pattern was a cage. I worked 12-hour shifts, eating instant noodles at my desk, while my parents quietly salted away every spare cent for Amanda's future. A new car for her 16th birthday. Full tuition for a private college. A summer studying art in Italy. I was the invisible engine funding their dreams, and my own dreams were dismissed as not a priority right now. The final crack appeared about a year ago. Whispers that died when I entered a room. A family future chat from which I was conspicuously absent. My gut, that quiet voice I had been trained to ignore, screamed that something was wrong. Then, one night in March, I heard it. I came home late, my soul weary from tax season, and froze at the sound of my name from the kitchen. "The deed is in our names only," my mother said, her voice calm and sure. "Jessica doesn't realize all her help was voluntary. She won't get anything when we sell." My father chuckled, a sound that felt like a physical blow. "She's never asked for paperwork." Classic Jessica. All heart, no business sense. Amanda's voice, hesitant, but won't she expect something? My mother's reply was a knife. Expect what? She gave gifts. Gifts don't buy ownership. I stood in the dark hallway, gripping the wall until my knuckles ached, the truth washing over me in a wave of cold betrayal. They weren't just taking advantage, they were conspiring. They were a board of directors voting to liquidate a loyal, but no longer useful, asset. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I walked to my room, opened my laptop, and began, with a cold, focused fury, to build my case. For 6 months, I lived a double life. By day, the mild-mannered accountant. By night, a forensic archaeologist of my own exploitation. I unearthed every receipt, every bank transfer, every email. My father's sloppy arrogance was my greatest ally. He'd sent transfers with notes like "help" or "a temporary." I cataloged it all. $47,000 in mortgage payments. $23,000 in renovation supplies. $15,000 more in utilities. $85,000 of my life, neatly traced back to my accounts. And the labor, 13 years of it. Painting, roofing, landscaping, work any contractor would have charged a fortune for. I built spreadsheets so precise they were a work of art, a damning ledger of their deceit. When my mother's text arrived, "Let's see how brave you are now," it wasn't a threat. It was a gift. It was the final, perfect piece of evidence, proving their malicious intent. They thought they were locking me out. In reality, they had just handed me the key to my own freedom. I slept more soundly that night than I had in years. The confrontation in the sterile mediation room was nothing like I'd imagined. There was no screaming match, no dramatic confession. There was only the hum of fluorescent lights and the thick, heavy folder I placed on the table. My father blustered, his face turning a blotchy red. "This is ridiculous. Those were gifts." My attorney was a scalpel. He laid out the evidence, the transfers, the receipts, the subpoenaed bank statements that revealed their healthy savings account all along. And then, the piece de resistance, my mother's text. "Let's see how brave you are now." The color drained from my mother's face. "Jessica, honey, this is all a misunderstanding," she pleaded, her voice trembling. I looked directly at her, and for the first time, I let her see the absolute absence of the daughter she thought she knew. "You never meant for me to document everything," I said, my voice eerily calm. "You never meant for me to understand that I was subsidizing your life while you built a future for Amanda." When the judge granted me a 50% ownership stake, I didn't feel triumph. I felt a profound, bone-deep relief. The law had seen the truth that love had blinded me to for so long. I didn't want the house. It was a tomb of memories. I forced the sale. It sold for $680,000. My half was $340,000. The beautiful, terrible justice of it was this: they had planned to use the entire sum to fund their golden years. Instead, they were left with half, their retirement dreams shattered. The daughter they called all heart, no business sense, had outmaneuvered them with the very numbers they thought made her dull. With my share, I bought a small, quiet townhouse. It is entirely, unquestionably mine. They still try to reach me. Guilt trips. Fake remorse. Pleas for family forgiveness. I do not respond. The silence in my new home is my sanctuary. Sometimes, when I'm sipping my morning coffee in the peaceful light, I think of that text message. They wanted to see how brave I was. They found out. And in doing so, they lost everything they truly valued, while I, finally, found myself.